part 7 of the mini series for episode 100 of the No Money Spent. I actually lied. Yes, I lied. In part 6, I said I went down to 7.5 mil because I had 2.5 mil invested into core leads. I actually didn't have 7.5 mil. I did have 10 mil. I kind of messed up my clip orderings, and basically I had 10 million coins, and I did have a couple of core elite investments. So that was a little bit of my mistake in part 6. But part 7 now, we had basically at this point, we have learned from Most Feared part 1, and really going into Most Feared part 2, we are dabbling into the core elite investment market, where we are trying to predict basically Most Feared part 2, Most Feared part 3 investments, so where cards that would be most likely to get upgraded, we want to pick up their core elite, because when they get upgrades necessarily, their core elites that are needed for their power up are significantly spiking in price. We had saw from the likes of Derrick Henry, from Jesse Bates, that their prices, man, Derrick Henry went from 90k to 250k. Jesse Bates went from 25k to 90k. So you see my top 10 list going into Most Feared part 2. Calvin Ridley was headlining that list at number 1. He was one of our main investments going into Most Feared part 2. We were also still investing in the Team of the Week method every single week, as well as Vernon Butler was the Team of the Week limited that week. We had picked him up for about 380,000 coins, but going into the week, we had basically spent about 4 to 5 million coins on a plethora of different correlates that we felt had a decent chance to get Most Feared part 2. And really going into Most Feared part 2, the reason why we put so many coins into these correlates, well, we had that security basically of Most Feared part 3, so where if they didn't get cards of Most Feared part 2, well, we always had Most Feared part 3 to fall back, so our investments wouldn't be completely dead yet. But going to Most Feared part 2, we did get the Calvin Ridley investment successful, so really it was the first taste of success with the core elite investments as well. We got Justin Herbert limited, Byron Jones limited, Brandon Marshall, Anthony Barr, Most Feared limited. It was a very opportunistic weekend in terms of limited time investments. We also got some of the best cards to date, that being Randy Moss, Lawrence Taylor. We also, I believe, what else we got in part 2? I forgot, but basically Randy Moss, Lawrence Taylor were the two best cards in Most Feared part 2. Oh, it was Rob Gronkowski, who was another one of our investments, and Kyle Juszczyk part of part 2 or part 3? I can't remember. Most Feared part 3 really just kept kind of the momentum forward of the Most Feared promo. It's probably been the best promo to this date in Madden 22, but really what we made our coins off of this weekend really was our successful core elite investments, the likes of Joel Bitonio getting a 90 overall card, Calvin Ridley getting a 90 overall card, and Rob Gronkowski as well. We made plenty of coins in these core elite investments. We were buying these cards, remember, at 5,000. Joe Bitonio, we were buying at like 8,000 coins, and well, they went up to 25,000 coins after basically hitting on the successful investment as well. This week in Most Feared part 2, as well as I eventually did upgrade my team, but the 84 or 85-86 exchange kind of set method became very prevalent, like the Campus Hero method early in the year, where we would buy some 80 overall Campus Heroes and turn that into an 82-83 exchange. Well, with the Most Feared promo coming, the 83 overall kind of market heavily crashed with the reroll. So we took those 83 overall cards and basically we're doing the 85-86 exchange set all weekend. And as well, combining the 85-86 exchange, we've heavily invested, we basically reinvested into the core elite market all Friday afternoon. So 85-86 exchange method, core elite method, and basically our limited time investments was the goal for this Most Feared part 2 weekend. And by the end of it, we only had about 2.5 million coins, but you see 236 total core elites. Our Vernon Butler investment that we picked up for 380k, he's already up to 500k, so that was looking like a great investment as well. Also, the Most Feared limited time cards, we picked up a couple Anthony Barrs for 280k and Brandon Marshall. This was really the first limited time Most Feared investment that really boomed. We picked up a bunch of Brandon Marshalls for about, I believe it was like 470,000 coins. 439 was the lowest, but we picked up a couple for about 480,000 coin on average. And well, we were able to flip Brandon Marshall just the next day for upwards, I believe, of 650,000 coins. So we basically were making 140,000 coins off of Brandon Marshall, which really was a great kind of one-day turnaround investment. Really, the coins kind of went back up. Now, you may notice, right, we went from 2.5 to 9.5 mil. Well, you got to understand, the limited time investments were really paying off as well. We kind of started to sell off, because you got to understand, basically going in from Most Feared part 2 to Most Feared part 3, we didn't want to hold every single core elite we had going into Most Feared part 3, because, well, if they didn't get cards, their price and their core elite price would tank. So we started to slowly sell off basically our core elite investments throughout the weekend and really mainly throughout the entire next week. But we're going to actually skip ahead now from episode 75 to episode 79 because, well, we come into some trouble. Basically what I like to call the weekend of death. But remember, we still had about 200 core leads. We had 9.5 mil. We're basically trying to, we saw the success of week 2 most feared, and well, we really wanted to basically live large basically through most feared part 3, and well, we are going to come and basically the weekend of death, that's what I like to call it, because we got our first real taste of failure when it comes to failed investments, and we lost a significant amount of coins. So it's also basically my YouTube started to get a little bit notable recognition, right? I think we hit around 100, 150, 200 subs at this time, so we had a lot more eyes on the channel, so I really wanted to basically be right on a lot of my investments. But going into the weekend episode 79, remember, we're still doing the Team of the Week investments. The Chase Edmonds was the Team of the Week limited this week, and well, we bought a bunch of them right under that 600,000 coin mark, and eventually he was able to sell off at 750,000 coins. But again, the coins starting to go down because, again, we invested in Team of the Week limited, Team of the Week in general. It was the 89 overall upgrade this week. So it was Kyle Pitts, Devontae Campbell, and you can see by the Team of the Week kind of method, we went all out. This was kind of the last week we went all out on the Team of the Week method. I had bought about 100 total between the Kyle Pitts and the Devontae Campbell, and well, this week they did not go up an insane amount. We've been buying them at about 60,000 coins, and really they didn't move. So after tax, we really weren't making anything, so I eventually actually just ended up quick selling all of them and re-rolling heavyweights, re-rolling the most feared re-roll, and try to get as many coins possible back. And well, that was only the start of kind of the troubles we had going into most feared part 3. Well, we actually were very successful with our core elite investments, right? Our Aaron Donalds, our DK Metcalfs, a lot of our core elite investments actually hit. But with the announcement of the investment, or the announcement of most feared part 3, I had seen Derrick Henry's price basically jump from that Thursday to Friday. So I'm like, I basically told everyone, I'm like, all right, I think the plan is we pick up some more Aaron Donald core elites, and I was buying these cards at 135k, 145k, and I was picking up DK Metcalfs about 30,000 coins a pop, really in anticipation that they'd be like Derrick Henry, they'd be like Jesse Bates, where yes, they would get announced on Thursday, but on Friday their price would jump even more because people would basically need them to power them up. Because man, who's not really gonna want DK Metcalf? Who's not gonna want Aaron Donald? But you're gonna see basically we had bought, it was ended up being about 50 DK Metcalfs, about 30 Aaron Donalds that we bought really at like that 130k mark for Aaron Donald and that 30k mark for DK Metcalf. But like I said, we actually were highly successful with our other investments. Josh Jacobs went up in price, and well, this was it. This was kind of doomsday. Episode 80 was called The Good, The Bad, and The Ugly, because there was some good. Remember, we picked up Chase Edmonds for under 600, or no, I think it was under 500,000 coins, and well, he's already back up to 700,000 coins, so that was solid. And well, our quarterly investments, right? Josh Jacobs, Jordan Poyer, we've been picking up these cards for like 5,000 coins. Jordan Poyer we picked up, and well, he was eventually going to get to 16,000 coins. If you had Logan Ryan, he went all the way up to 40,000 coins on the Xbox market. But there is going to be some bad Josh Jacobs, by the way, 26,000 coins, but I'm only basically delaying the doom. The bad Jair Alexander, which we had bought a couple at about 80,000 coins, he went down to 56,000 coins because kind of the theme. And really, we took this episode as a learning moment for the investing really that we're going to use for the rest of the year, and it's really selling into the hype. We're going to see these cards were basically heavily over invested by everyone in the community. So Jair Alexander, basically we bought a few for about 80,000 coins, he dropped down to 54,000. Jalen Ramsey, we also picked up a couple of Jalen Ramseys, but he really wasn't the issue. The bad was Aaron Donald, and as you can see, we picked up a bunch for 130,000. And well, he eventually went down to 97,000. He basically kind of fluttered from 90,000 to 105,000. He kind of got back up to 110, but he eventually went back down to 100,000 coins. So we basically had to eat a loss. I think it was it was like a mil. It was like 1.5 mil combined between Aaron Donald and DK Metcalf. But luckily, kind of our core elite investments over the past couple weeks, where we kind of been warehouse mething it almost as well. DK Metcalf went from 30,000 coins to 17,000 coins. So I really felt bad for a lot of my new subscribers, a lot of my new viewers, because basically this was right when like I said, my YouTube was basically gaining some notoriety, and really maybe some of the first investments you might have done was the Aaron Donald, was the DK Metcalf, and you really hadn't been with me for a long time. So you're probably like, damn, I'm a fraud, right? Like, I'm basically telling you guys L investments, but basically with the quarterly investments that were successful over basically part 1 and part 2 as well. Like I said, we were really warehousing our core elite method basically by, also we were investing in core elites, but we were selling off basically into the hype. So we basically, it was kind of like we gotten up to, I believe it was like 17, 18 mil this time, but then DK Metcalf and Aaron Donald kind of lost us a mil or two. We were kind of come back down to earth and really take a humble moment to kind of learn from our mistakes. And we eventually, you see, we had 57 DK Metcalfs, 32 Aaron Donalds, and well, it wasn't all bad for, I guess, that most feared part 3 weekend, because we did upgrade our team. It kind of been that 2-week kind of phase where we needed to upgrade our team. We got our team up to 93 overall. You're going to see we add the likes of Jair Alexander, because he was one of the new cards, Aaron Donald. We add pretty much all the most feared cards as well. Some of the good that came with this weekend, really, this kind of helped us build our coin total back up, because we had lost a good 500 to a mil off Aaron Donald, off DK Metcalf. So we had to basically go big in time to our limited time investments. T.Y. Hilton and J.C. Horn were the cards this weekend, and I felt like their price was really low for 2 cards that were probably the best limited time cards we had seen this year. T.Y. Hilton was tied for the fastest speed wide receiver in the game with Will Fuller, and J.C. Horn was the fastest corner in the game, and we picked up, I believe it was 6 or 7 J.C. Horns for around the 400,000 coin mark, and well, we picked up 18 T.Y. Hiltons at that 290,000 coin mark. And well, J.C. Horn now is at easily 550,000. Well, T.Y. Hilton did not go up initially, didn't spike up. He went up to 330K, but we eventually, down the line, we're going to end up selling our T.Y. Hiltons off for about 380K and selling our J.C. Horns off for about 600K. So that's really where we kind of bounce back with the coin making method, basically over the course of Most Feared Part 2 and Most Feared Part 3, but that's going to rack up Part 6. Really, it was doomsday Most Feared Part 3. We can lost us a lot of coins, but our limited time investments, we've been warehousing our correlates. It kind of settled the coin difference from the losses we had, and well, we still were able to make a significant amount of coins over the course of these 2 weeks, and this is going to bring us to our final part into this little mini series, Part 8 of the little No Money Spent Episode 100 documentary.